Hello and welcome to Matt's Rocks. Today I'm going to be doing these two Utah agates. I don't know if it's petrified wood or just a waterline agate. It's well, I should say two cabs. It's all from one slab. It's from the last cutting video on that Utah agate and the rose quartz. I kind of like this side better than this side. It's kind of a little blotchy and bland. But we'll see what they look like once I get it rounded off. I'm going to round off both sides. This one's got, both sides are good, but there's a bunch of fractures in here. All of these on the face don't seem to go all the way through, but I should be all right because I think the pattern's going to stay there at least until I get down so far, which I probably won't round it any more than that. It won't be, I mean, it'll still be that tall is what I'm getting at, but we'll have to see. I'll just find out what I get. And this one here's got this whole side looks like it might come off. And I broke off part of it that was over here that was thinner with my hand just a little while ago. I had to put some new water in my tank and empty my wastewater and charge the battery for the hose. And I sat down and started recording, and I realized I'd left my mics sitting here on the table for the last couple of days and hadn't charged them up. And the one for my camera that I got zoomed in over here was at 60%, so I figured I'd better charge it. So I'm gonna get started and we'll go from there. I don't imagine I'll get to that one for a while, but I want it wet so it'll stay down. I kind of want to curl after they dry out. Got one fracture that comes into the back, and it only comes in about 1/4 of an inch. But I see a line there. Maybe it does go all the way through, but just kind of did that. And they may be healed fractures too. I'll be able to tell more once I get it down. Try to figure out my shape. But I think I want to make this side the face. Because this fracture comes down to here. It comes back in, I guess, a little over here too. About there. So let me just make my sides even and figure out what kind of shape I'll go for from there. I got a feeling it's going to take me a couple hours to do this one, so I'll just go ahead and shut off the cameras and bring you back in when I get it shaped. Then after I get it done with this and then this one, I'm going to have to go and stabilize it too. So I'll do these first three first and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm back. Here's my shape on this one. I think I'm going to do these one at a time, one per video, because I just started working on that other one a few minutes ago, and it's going to take, I got to take all of that off right in through there, because I don't think it's going to stay. Plus, I'm not going to be able to get it down deep enough here without taking a lot of that off. And I've got to take a lot of this end off too because of that. I got to at least get this to about here, from here over, flat. And that's a pretty deep groove, not to mention this one on this end. That's another reason why I got to take this off, because I wouldn't be able to round it properly. Plus there's deeper groove here too. So I'm going to do this one separate, because this one took me 3 hours just to get it to shape where I could switch over to the 220. And so I'm going to just call this one a single video. Let me show it on this other. I didn't want to use this side as a face. It does have that nice red up in there that I was able to save some of. And I do think, I was thinking of actually drilling a hole in the top and mounting an eye there for the chain, using this as the front because of that red. But I think on the back side, I don't have all the red, but I still got the good pattern. But I got a feeling that if I hung it like this, it'd more like landscape in the sky. Cloudy, darkish, cloudy, stormy sky. But I do believe this is petrified wood. I'm getting more sure by the minute as I get into it, because this side here, that's the other side. It does show through a little color. Just not as much. And this one, the same way. They show a little bit of, they allow a little bit of light through where the color's not so dark and the pattern's not so full. But I still like it. And I don't know that I'll be putting drilling holes in it or not. I've not used my drill much, but I know that I take the chance every time I use that drill of making it, or of whenever I go to drill into it, wherever I go to drill into it at, it's liable to pop out. I never thought about that cut there, or that fracture there, when I was thinking about mounting it here, drilling the hole here, but that had never worked. Of course, I'm going to stabilize it, so it might still work, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll get into all that extra stuff or not. Kind of pretty busy at the moment, and I don't know about that drill. I mean, it's a good drill. It's a core drill. It's German, I think. I think it came from Germany. Originated in Germany, but it's got a little rod down in it that when you push up on it, or when you bring it down to drill your hole, when you pop it back up, that rod pushes back down in and pushes your core back out. So that way you're not dragging that thing full of a core and you're getting it full. So it comes out a lot easier. And with it being a core drill, it's not so apt to break out, but I have done it. I've only drilled probably 3 or 4, 5 stones with it. I don't know if you can see those white spots. No, I can't find them. Well, I'm still looking over my glasses again. You can see it. There we go. Now that the light's not on it so much, you can see that it's wider right in there. And that was like a few little pits, like it's fixing to open into a druzy pocket. But I don't think that's going to make a whole lot of difference. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it out. It might get even worse the more I grind into it. We'll see. And everywhere those fractures are at, they're full of white dust, at least on this side. This one's not full of white dust, and neither is this little extension of it that doesn't come all the way back. It stops right there. It goes underneath that part rather than above it, or rather than going through it. So it was in a different layer. So that was an original fracture from when it was formed, actually. All kinds of metal on there. Oh, from my flashlight. I don't remember which side I was working on. But it don't matter. This white layer here, this white spot there, was a druzy pocket before I started grinding on it. It was open to the air, but I knew I had to cut it out of there because it was too rough around it. I got a feeling by the time I get done with this too, these areas where the white dust was in that fracture, I think it'll be gone by the time I get down to it, or by the time I get done with this 3000 grit, because it usually doesn't stay very long. Once you get it polished good enough, the edges come closer together when you're not using the bigger grits, the steel grits. The reason why I said I'm getting more into believing that it's wood is because these fibers, where they come across this way, where it looks like the fibers of the wood coming across those lines, they're kind of like tubes, it seems like, but they were soft spots in between the fibers, and it seemed like some of them were actual fibers rather than just staining. So that's what made me think it's been replaced. That's why they call it I'm trying to think of the word. Yeah, well, I'll figure it out here in a little bit. cellular replacement. That's what I was trying to think of. There's two different kinds of agates. Ones that's just been filled in with something else, and others that have been replaced cell by cell and still have the same similarities as what it was before. Whereas if it was just all jasper, it'd just be one solid piece of jasper, and you wouldn't be able to tell it was an old tree because it had been replaced. Everything had been replaced with new stuff, and you wouldn't have been able to tell it was petrified wood or agate or whatever. I guess it would if it was in liquid at the time of the making of it, when it was leaking into the pocket that it was grown in, or that it grew in. So I guess it would. Got a few. Some of these white lines are quartzy. This one here's got crystals in it, so it's not going to shine properly, I don't think. We'll find out. But it'll be glinting back at you with crystal points or crystal reflections, which I guess is probably good enough. Oh, I was going to stabilize this. Dummy. Oh well, I can still stabilize it now. I wanted to do it before I cut it anymore, so that I don't cut it all out or mess it all up. If I was to do this one right now, when I got done grinding it, all of the stuff that was on this, in these fractures, I would have already ground them out by the time I got it down to this shape. So that's why I wait till after this wheel to stabilize them. But before this wheel, it doesn't matter either way, but I'd have to drop back to at least the 400 or 600 or the 280 in order to get that glue off. Because no matter how thin that CA glue looks, it dries fairly thick, especially if you use the accelerator on it. I didn't use the accelerator on it at first on the other ones. Let me go ahead and set this off and stabilize that, and then I'll come back in. Okay, it's the next day. I've already stabilized. You can see the extra shiny stuff on there's the glue. I managed to do it without getting a whole back real thick solid sheet of glue. And I didn't use the quick dry on it. And let's let it sit overnight. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to let it cure overnight, or 24 hours anyway, so that's what I did. And if you don't use the quick dry stuff, glue accelerator, that's what it's called, accelerator. But I think I've got the fractures all sealed up. Yeah, I even put glue on this one here that doesn't go anywhere. It goes underneath here, I'm assuming, because it's all in the same line. But it didn't affect these wider bands and the darker bands in the middle there. So it's a layer above it. But anyway, let's go to the 220 or 280 grit and get this glue off. Then I can come back and start on the 600. Might not take very long to get this glue off, I hope. I'm gonna go ahead and wet all these down just in case. I guess I need this over here. I'm gonna have to get up though. Set it over there. Get my leg, get my feet on my chair straight where they go. Got one in between my legs. Okay, I'm back. Oop. Forgot, I just took this to the aluminum oxide, and I forgot to spritz it real good with the water to make sure there's nothing in any pits or anything that's going to leave a white residue in there, leave the grit in there, the aluminum oxide in there, make it white. That's why I put the glue in there to seal the cuts, or seal the fractures, so that the stuff wouldn't stick in there, but I forgot to make sure. I just spritzed it with the mist to get the buildup off of it. Okay, that's crystal. I did have a little bit on there in this fracture here because it did sink down a little bit, but I managed to get rid of most of the white on that. There's the stone. It's shiny. Good and shiny. Except down here at the bottom on that black stuff, and in between some of the brown stuff, there's softer agate that just wouldn't shine all that great. But it's shining some, it's just not shining all that great. But I'm pretty sure this is petrified wood now that I look at it. Because if you look at the side, you can see those fibers go all the way through. But I like the looks of this stone. And I don't think it matters which side you use for a face. But it's a good looking stone. That could be ocean with land behind it. Or it could be land with stormy sky behind it. But it's kind of neat. There's the other side. And I think it looks more like better this way with the on that side, but I don't know why. It's got so many fractures in it. But it's not a bad looking. And I kind of like the way the stain goes off to the side of this fracture. Makes like a tree. The red dirt around the hill where it's rooted at, or behind it, whatever we want to do it. The stream running through, the white running through here, kind of like a stream. Or the edge of the coast. Kind of neat. And here's what I was talking about. You can tell those grains or those fibers look like they go all the way through. And then on this side, you can see that it doesn't quite. It's right in here, you can see the end. Right here, you can see they're not all the way through, really. And then down here especially. But there's not many down there anyway. They were few and far between down there anyhow, but there are white and red ones down in that section. It's a nice looking stone. Can't wait to get this one done. I'm not sure this one's going to be the same And I'm not sure I'm going to have to lose all of this. I'm going to try not to, but and I'm going to make this a little more pointed so it's not so flat top and bottom like this one. But this one will be out. This one will be out Wednesday. And this one should be out Friday. And I'll go ahead and do, oh yeah, I forgot. Let's see what this does this way. Nope, not working. Let me get the light, a flashlight. Let's do this. Light doesn't come through everywhere. But you could use this, mount it somewhere and put a light behind it. It kind of looked neat. But that's a good stone. I like these stones. And who would have thought that looking like this on the outside, that would turn out looking like that on the inside. I may leave a couple of these whole and try to make some kind of display out of it. I don't know. Would be kind of neat, but I think pretty much this brownish wood grain almost completely disappears in the last ones. So they're not going to look quite as good because of that cloudy sugar agate, I guess you could call it. This stuff here, that's more, it's like a quartzite because it's got round. I think it's probably because a lot of the crystals in there are round rather than tubular. Because quartz, jasper, and chalcedony all have two different types of grain to them, or two different types of manifestations, I guess you'd say. And there's the next one. Of course, I've shown all of these to you before. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. I may put it in and cut some more, but I don't know. It's got that fracture running straight down the middle here, but I think it's healed. I don't see any gaps on it. And that's the only one I see a little bit of a gap to, but, and I don't see any brown in there. But I might just see if I can make some kind of shape out of it like it is and just use it to sit on a, I've got a turntable with a light underneath, with a light on the top of it, a mirror. I just wish, I've got two of them. One of them, and I think they both change colors. I don't like them to change. I'd rather they just stayed white and stayed on all the time rather than changing from colors, changing the colors around. It just seems better to me for some reason. Okay, now that I got that back together the way it's supposed to be, let me put it back over here. But okay, so that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like I said, this one will be out Wednesday. This one will be out Friday. I haven't really. I did start on it yesterday, but I didn't I knew it was going to take too long to grind this off. I was thinking I was going to have to grind every bit of that part off because it's got a second fracture underneath it. And I can't tell how far that, well, that second fracture doesn't go very deep on this end, this lower fracture. But I don't see any separation in it, or the one above it. There's a little separation in this part down here, but I still think this side would be the better looking side too, because this is all mostly just blah. Where this side looks fairly good. Not as bright of colors, but that may change when it's ground down and polished too. But anyway, thanks for watching and putting up with me. I know I'm probably saying that too much, but I feel like I'm imposing sometimes. I don't know if I'm giving you what you want or not, but I'm trying to make it where you can learn to do this stuff. Seems to be, from what I've been hearing since I started this, it's kind of a lost art, or in my case, a lost experiment. But I'm trying to figure out if there's anybody that wants to see the whole thing or see the whole process. I don't think they want to sit through. Wow, I thought I rinsed those off. I don't think they want to sit through the whole process because sometimes it could take hours and hours. Other times it could take an hour and a half or 20 minutes, depending on what you're doing. Now I can always get the preform cabs. They're pretty quick. They're pretty quick to do once you've got them cut out and ready to start shaping and dopped up. They don't take all that long unless you have to stabilize them. Then you got to let that stuff sit after you put the glue on there. But anyway, you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next one.